Hi, this is Alan. I like IRONWORX because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love IRONWORX with Josh, Walt, and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cozy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that IRONWORX with Josh, Walt, and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the IRONWORX.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. IRONrealmmedia is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Lettuce from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the IRONWORX with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the IRONWORX and become an Iron Scout.
It's never too early to learn that the government is a greedy piglet that suckles on a taxpayer's teat until they have sore, chapped nipples.
Good morning. Here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Reputable information comes from random people on the internet. How many things, internet? The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe that dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, I'm afraid of course, that there is no dark matter out there. So what? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard. Think really hard. Think really hard.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
And a TGIW. Happy Wednesday, everybody. You've made it once again to the IRONWORX. We are going to be without Walter this morning. He woke up and his MG was hitting hard. And he was having a hard time, so hopefully he's back in bed resting up and will wake up and make a second attempt at starting this day, feeling a little better just later on. But Zach's here. How the hell are you doing, Zach? How's your third shift work been going?
Where was that? Excuse me.
Yep. That sounds about right. That sounds like how I feel when I was doing third shift work too.
Got about 10 hours in. Saw about 10 cars.
Oh, shit. That makes for a long 10 hours, I bet.
Yeah. First half of the night, we were on a dead-end road. Why are we here?
That does seem a little odd. How far away were you from the dead end?
Like the whole road was 3/4 of a mile long. Yeah. There was 3 houses at the end of it, and that was it.
I mean, easy money, I guess.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, it was just one night. I'm back on days today.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah, that just throws your schedule all off.
It does. Like, I think it's one of those things that even has ripple effects. Like, it might take you a couple days to readjust your sleep schedule, but your body's going to be a little wonky, I think, for a couple weeks even, as I recall. I hated shift work.
Yeah, it sucks.
My grandpa did it for decades for Monsanto. And he worked third shifts for Monsanto. So most of my early childhood memories of my grandparents, at least during the day, is us coming in and having to tiptoe and be very quiet so we don't disturb Grandpa, who's in the other room sleeping. And he always had those blackout shades. So no matter what time of day you went into their bedroom, it was almost completely pitch black.
I did it for about 6 months, and I could not get used to it. I worked the second shift for years, 3 to 11. That was my sweet spot when I was younger. But no, I never did like midnights.
And see, even 3 to 11, I don't like. And working in restaurants, that's a pretty not uncommon shift. Even if you're running 3 to 12, close up and get out of there at 1. Or it just sort of depends on how you stagger those shifts coming in. But even that seems to throw me off, because then I'm not waking up until noon the next day. But I guess that's back when I was drinking and might have had a little bit to do with it.
Maybe a little bit. Are they talking about abolishing the Marine Corps?
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. And who in the hell's talking about that? Probably nobody seriously.
TheHill.com. Just turned 250 years old.
I'd be like, we need to abolish the Air Force. I think, you know what? I think we've got air supremacy, so we can just get rid of our Air Force now.
Well, this is some idiot. Do we still need the Marine Corps? Well, I would say yeah. Like, who's going to go in and fight?
Well, everybody else, you see. Because apparently this feller thinks that the Marine Corps has become redundant and dependent on the other branches.
That's just crazy.
That is a little crazy. I'm trying to figure, I mean, I can... If you're the upper echelon, wouldn't they be redundant?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all we did was just make your branch of service now redundant, completely pointless. Great, we can do what you do, but we do it better. So you get rid of us? I don't think that's how that works.
And they're the first to go and the last to leave. Yeah, they're kind of an important cog in the wheel of the U.S. military. It's just, I don't know how else to put it. You know, they're the grunts. They're the ones who get the jobs done. They're the ones down there in the trenches and the dirt and the, you know, so many people in the military, you know, have, I'm not going to say a cush job or something like that, but they're sitting at a chair behind a desk, maybe have a computer in front of them or something like that. And yeah, that's not the Marines. Like, I'm sure there's administrative jobs in the Marines and whatnot, you know, but like, Marines are...
You don't even want to fuck with the admins.
Yeah, exactly. No, because they're Marines. They're still a Marine. They still had to go through it.
Right. We're still doing 3/4 of the Navy SEAL training. Right. We're not doing the basic underwater demolition school, but We are definitely using aspects of it and incorporating it into boot camp. So even the most basic Marine has had a considerable amount of Navy SEAL training. Like Air Force, National Guard, shit like that. Their basic training is done like in an apartment building. Like you get a roommate, but you have like an apartment, a little condo for you to live in. Maybe a shared bathroom, but I'm not even sure that's true. I think it might just be a bathroom per. Marines eat sand. Here's a big difference.
Yeah,
we're not built the same, as they say.
Talking about, ever since the emergence of nuclear weapons and missile technologies, the Marines and their functions were suddenly outdated.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Yeah, we have more missiles than anybody on Earth, yet we couldn't take Vietnam, couldn't take Afghanistan. I mean, we could barely take Iraq. It's just, no. Oh my goodness. It's not just about missiles and bombs. That's not.
Well, even the Russia-Ukraine war has basically redefined warfare in the modern age with the use of drones. And they're still over there fighting hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, hand-to-hand combat.
Tanks revolutionized warfare, and they still had to fight hand-to-hand combat. Fighter jets, still fighting hand-to-hand combat. Naval ships, not so much, at least not until you hit the beachhead, but eventually it'll be hand-to-hand combat.
I mean, even if Russia and the United States, two of the big superpowers that have all the bombs and the missiles and this and that, even if they went to war, it would still come down to hand-to-hand combat.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the Marine Corps. Let's get rid of the hell. Marine Corps is older in this country. Hey, Andrew B.
What's up, Andrew B?
But I was just listening in on the military kind of stuff, and Josh, I heard you just say we could barely take Iraq. No, we took Iraq. That was like a machine gun in a preschool. No, we destroyed that country in the first 48 hours we were there.
It was Afghanistan that we lost.
No,
yeah, we took Iraq, but could you walk around Baghdad openly, freely, ever, the whole time you're there?
Yeah.
Or were there snipers taking pop shots at you guys the whole time?
Now, Baghdad wasn't really a big issue because we had two bases that were built right outside of it. And, yeah, that wasn't our main concern, even though we did patrols there all the time. I was only there for basically a staging operation. Basically, we just got there, we slept there for one night, and then moved off to another base that I was responsible for building. Well, me and a lot of other people. But before we invaded Iraq in 2003, we had a 3-star general in the Marine Corps come on board the ship, and everyone that was going to be ground forces moving in, including me, even though I was Navy, it was a CB. Well, he said, we are the 10,000-pound grizzly bear that's really pissed off, and they are a bunch of children. And I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck that is?" He's like, "Yeah, we are going. What's going to happen?" And I saw this happen. The night, a few hours after he gave that speech to us on the flight deck, we witnessed multiple aircraft carriers and which had these things called AV-8s, Harriers, and they loaded them full of these bombs. They look like about the size of a football with like a little tail, like a Nerf football kind of. And each wing had 16 of them, I think. And we were about 2 miles off the coastline as they just peppered the entire beach line full of bombs and just destroying everything. And they had F-18s from aircraft carriers and F-22s and whatever. Just bombing the living shit out of everything. And we already had special forces in there at the time. But when it came time for us, the ground forces, to go in, that's when we had helicopter. It used to work. It was a blitzkrieg attack, essentially. And yes, thank you, German army. That's when they're the ones that, it's air, land, and water attack all at the same time. Air, land, ground, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's when we moved in with, 2,000 troops, maybe more. And then, Iraq didn't stand a chance. Our rules of engagement were basically, if it moves, you can shoot it. And that's when I never had to shoot. Well, at least on the initial part. The Marines did a shitload. If they saw something, they just fucking shot it. It could have been a camel. I don't fucking know what it was. But we had a landing zone area. And that's when we did the whole stop, drop, and set up shop, where there was 300 CBs that were there. And CBs and Marines and Army, that were all responsible. Our only job was to build a base as fast as possible. And concertina wire and fucking everything you could think of. It was 30 hours of basically nonstop work. And we built a base in that time. We had all the materials with us already. Anyways, when people start talking about the military and shit, it puts me into a state of, flashback. So anyways, I was having a wonderful
Sorry. Sitting here lost in thought, thinking about when it's going to happen next.
Oh, the next conflict?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Venezuela thing, I think that.
Well, here's the question.
Yeah.
When I went through boot camp in '96, we were still using regular camo. I think it was like right towards the end of the summer that I started seeing the desert camo pop out. So like they had enough forethought to change the camouflage to adapt to the war that wasn't even a thought yet. So that's, good thinking. But I don't know that the desert camo would do us much good in Venezuela, would it? Wouldn't you want a regular woodland camo?
Yeah, they keep changing the uniforms. Like we called it, I'm not really sure if you remember this, but in Desert Storm, they had the chocolate chip camos, and it was like, okay, well, that looks kind of weird, but that was right after like the Cold War situation, and all of a sudden they switched into the regular camouflage. That's like the jungle camouflage, but they still had the desert camouflage as well as also Arctic camouflage. They also had that, but it just depends on where people are going to be. And then they switched over to the digital camouflage for That's what they call it, the digital, because it's just a whole bunch of like pixelated camouflage. So I was like, why are they switching it to that? And someone told me because if there's a bunch of people standing in a group and someone takes a digital picture of you or of the group, it's hard to make out how many people are actually there. I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. You don't have digital camouflage on your head or on your face. I don't know, they switch it around all the time.
Did that make it harder for a drone to see you?
Yeah, I think there was multiple reasons as to why they were doing that. But
yeah, I thought I heard something about that. Something about the digital pattern made it harder for like digital sensors to pick it up. Or
something like that. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not even sure if they still use that or not. I think they switched to something else.
I heard they went back to the old ones.
Well, there you go. That makes sense. If they know they're going into the jungle, you're going to want to switch back. You're not going to want to keep uniforms from the last conflict in a different climate zone.
If we were to go to war with Venezuela, it wouldn't be a war. It would just be a devastation. And I'm only saying that because if we would bring over 3 battle groups of ships, the Air Force would be on standby from one of the neighboring military bases we have down there, and then it would just be fucking over. It wouldn't be a war. The United States, it'd be like going to war with Canada and Mexico at the same time. It wouldn't. We would probably lose a couple of people, but for the most part, it would just be. The only formidable countries right now that would be worrisome to go to combat with would be Russia and China. That's it. Aside from that, no, there's no country in the world that's going to fuck with the United States. Even if we have a bunch of fucking pussies. No, we have all these predator drones and shit that are just controlled from a fucking computer, over in like Colorado or something. They just bomb the living shit out of their airports and military bases, and then, oops, you got nothing left. Then you send in the ground forces, and it's fucking over. Actually, Iran would also be a bitch of a... Say again?
That you always need those ground forces, those Marines.
Yeah, well, the Marines and every branch of the military has ground forces. Even the Coast Guard, believe it or not, they actually have they're boarding crews. But yeah, the ground forces go in later. Marines go in first. After special forces like Navy SEALs and Delta Force, Army Rangers, PJs, and blah blah blah, whatever. They're the ones in there first. And unless you have a TS clearance, you have no idea where they are. But they're going to be outside of the attack zone. Then from there, they just bomb the living shit of everything. And then bomb it again. And then you send in the ground forces to basically surround the area. And the war is fucking over. I mean, it's pretty screwed up how war works, but it's one of the reasons I left the military. I was like, wow. I mean, it looks fun in video games and in TV and movies. But then when you actually see it in person, you're like, holy shit. I just saw 10,000 people get killed from these airstrikes. Or however many it was, I don't even know.
I've tried to imagine. And I don't think somebody who hasn't been through it can imagine it. It's one of those things that, you almost have to see it to actually take in that kind of just raw. Yeah, I don't know. It's not something I ever would want to do.
I wouldn't take it back. I would just do things a little bit different. but I saw things in my life that only I can explain. Well, at least to you guys, unless someone was like right by me and telling the same exact story, they would probably, or seeing the same thing, they would probably still tell the story differently. Even though we were right there in the same Humvee, seeing the same fucking thing with machine guns and aircraft and tanks moving along. It was, Iraq wasn't even a combat. We lost about, I think it was like 3,000 people or something in the conflict, and we killed around 300,000 of them or more. So a significantly larger amount. It was a 1 to 10 ratio essentially, or maybe more for all I know.
Yeah, but we never had an exit strategy in Iraq. That was the most messed up part about it.
Well, we still don't, because we still deploy there.
It had nothing to do with oil or Kuwait or any of that shit.
Well, they did aggress upon Kuwait, as I recall.
Yeah, they did.
They were just shocked that America came to the rescue of Kuwait, of all people.
Yeah, I think it had more to do with something that was found out in the desert. And we wanted it.
Certainly would make more sense, I think, than, oh no, we need to protect this one little country nobody's ever heard of.
Nobody's ever heard of. I remember when all that stuff started, I was like, wait, what? What country? There's a place called Kuwait? Yeah, it was... Yeah, that was definitely all a big part of the show. That's when my brother was over there. He was on the USS Abraham in the Persian Gulf.
We'll see if they take Iran. I do believe that was sort of the ultimate goal, was Tehran.
Mm-hmm. It has been for what, 40-something years now?
At least, yeah. Three Kings was a great movie.
Oh, fuck yeah. And Mark Wahlberg, Clooney, and Ice Cube.
Iced coffee. Yeah, Ice Cube.
Oh, no, it wasn't Denzel. Okay.
Yeah, there was some weird things that...
Denzel.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a different one. I know what you're talking about. But that was more of a terrorist thing. Yeah, but in Three Kings, they talk about how there's all this gold and stuff out there. And that's what the entire point of the movie was. Clooney was a Delta Force colonel getting ready to retire. He's like, fuck it. It turned into a situation sort of like in Apocalypse Now, which I think is based on a true story, as far as I recall. And that was out there. We had already taken over fucking everything. Saddam's fortress and both of his sons. We killed both of them. But Saddam went missing. And I actually got to go inside Saddam's palace. Take a piss. And they had Marines in there. The Marines already took over the place. And as you're walking through the halls...
That's the stuff I'm talking about, where those are the Marines' jobs. To take the palace and stuff like that. There's no... I mean, you could blow it up to rubble, yeah. But you kind of lose information when you do stuff like that. No, Marines go in and they They're the ones that clear rooms. I'm not saying that the other branches don't. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying Marines do it in mass. Like, yeah, they're the grunts of the military.
Yeah, the Marines are as I said, the first ones in, the last ones out.
Yeah.
Marines are the invading force, and
like
the Army.
We don't need Marines anymore. It's just, that's crazy to me.
Oh, we need Marines. Oh yeah, but the Marines, Army, everyone invades at the same time. Just the Marines are a little bit. They're like the tip of the spear, essentially. And then once everything gets kind of settled down, the Army comes in mass, and they're an occupying force. That's when they just send in shitloads of Army, and the Marines kind of settle down, and that's when everyone else stays on high alert, essentially. And war is hell.
My buddy was a 50 cal gunner on the back of a Hummer. And he said he didn't have to see combat, thank God. But he said the life expectancy of those guys over there was very short.
What, in Iraq?
Yeah, just that job that he had to do. Be up there on that gun, like with his head out of the whole thing. His upper body, pretty much. He said, yeah, those guys go pretty quick when the bullets start flying.
Turret. It does have quarter-inch hardened plate steel that an AK can't go through. A 50 cal can at close enough range, but my squad and my fire team, well, I was the squad leader, and at one point, I just wanted to be up in the fucking turret. So I told I was the driver. I was responsible. And so I just wanted to get up in the turret. And we were just driving around, and I would be lucky because of how bumpy the desert is out there. Like trying to shoot one of those guns, I'd be lucky if I hit a target. But yeah, if someone's far enough away, that would be an easy target. But I've been shot at twice, as far as I know. It didn't really matter though, because I'm getting like flashbacks.
Gotta take Hank out to do his business.
Walter, you're supposed to be in bed resting up.
Yeah, I lay there and just stared at the ceiling for 30 or 40 minutes and decided, well, I ain't going back to sleep. I just gonna get up, see what they're doing.
I know that.
I can't type in chat. What's up, man? Hi, everybody in chat. I can't see. I'm just having a bad, cross-eyed kind of day, so I was back in bed, but...
Eat some mushrooms, and then call a doctor? No?
No, probably good. On that.
Not your cup of tea there, Walter?
No, not this early anyway.
Do mushrooms affect your dreams?
Would think so.
I would think so too. Or like acid, like if you were to drop and then just go to sleep.
I've done it.
I've heard people do that, and I don't think I would ever want to do it, but my buddy said he did it once just to try it out. He would take a drop of acid and he would put it in his tear duct in each one of his eyes. And then he would go to sleep. And he said it was like he would wake up and didn't even know he was really awake until it started coming off.
Oh.
Thought it was still a dream.
That's something I never thought of. Yeah, I don't know if I want that to happen.
No. Probably pass.
Yeah, LSD is one of those things that I encourage everyone to at least try it once, just to understand this little tiny amount of something, like one drop in a sugar cube or underneath your tongue or on a little piece of, little piece of cardboard paper or something. I don't understand exactly how it's so potent.
2, at least 2, maybe 3.
Oh, what doses?
Trips. Like, for you to understand what it is you're dealing with, I think it takes a couple, 2 or 3 times. The first time, it's like weird. It's novel. Your brain doesn't have a pattern with which to recognize it because it's something you've never experienced before. But it's also so situational that you don't understand the common thread of like having a good trip is. Because it's all in your head. So you can't really keep track of what is, actually there or what's acid induced. So I'd say at least 2 or 3 trips so you can find that common thread of, okay, this is what the acid is doing versus this is what my body's doing from the acid. Kind of a situation, or how I'm reacting to it. Because each trip will be different and almost mood dependent.
Oh yeah, big time. Never do it while you're alone.
I think I've tripped more alone than I have with people.
Oh, for sure.
I would do that.
I have for sure, 100%. Like 5 times as many as I've done with people.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I've heard about people, like when I was working in the prisons and stuff, and also when I was incarcerated for that short amount of time, people were getting, letters sent to them, and their family or whoever it was would douse the part of the letter in LSD. That's probably the worst place to ever do that. Going to a carnival or going to a nature walk, going to the beach, or going to a rave, cool, sounds good. Fucking jail.
Yeah, you just named like 18 different things that no, man, seriously, like, doing it to do introspective change and evolutionary things versus, you know what you guys should do? You're tripping. You should go play goofy golf. That was why I wrote most often tripped alone or with very intimate, close friends. It was never there was only a very handful of times that it was a public event. And very specific concerts that I knew the bands were definitely going to be gearing the event to all of us who had decided to chemically induce ourselves to a different state of mind. But yeah, just doing it and heading to a bar or even a rave, I never know. That was more ecstasy. That was what that was for, but definitely not for that.
Oh yeah, here in California, if you go to a lot of these concerts and stuff, the security guards are selling fucking acid and ecstasy. They're just making sure no one has weapons on them as you want to go to these different venues. And yeah, it's called hippie tripping, where you take acid, mushrooms, and MDMA all at the same time. I've never done that. I'm scared to do it, but never will. But apparently everyone's just like, oh yeah, it's good for doing what? You want to kill yourself? I could. Have you guys ever heard of something called the Fillmore, San Francisco? That's where all of the. It's a really, really famous venue. That's Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, all these different people in the 60s. That's when they all got popular. And yeah, the security guards are selling drugs. I'm not kidding when I say that either. You could be doing a line of coke right in front of them. And it's like, as long as you don't have a gun in your hand, they don't give a shit.
They probably work for the CIA.
Yeah, maybe. It's fucking Fillmore.
The big thing in the CIA about releasing acid out into the public. Wouldn't that be classified?
That's what I would think too. And I've had this conversation with many people. That was actually, you read my mind. I was going to bring that up. Because my buddy Craig, well, we're not friends anymore. I haven't seen him in years. Chemical engineering degree. And he got hooked on meth. He's gone now. I don't know if he's alive. But we were having this conversation about LSD and different drugs and whatnot. And he said that when he was going through his graduate degree, master's degree, they were talking about how it was not the CIA. It was actually some chemist who was fiddling around with these different chemicals and then came up with, I guess he called it like LSD-9, something like that. And he was trying it on himself. He was his own test dummy. So then once he figured out, holy shit, this is a super strong hallucinogen, that's when he started making more of it, and Dr. Timothy Leary figured out about it, and hence the acid wave of 60s here in California. That's what they say. In some cases, that's what Craig was telling me. But then I was like, well, I was told in the military that it was actually a CIA type of a chemical that they were using to try to hypnotize people. He's like, well, they never told me yet in college. I don't know. Where's the real history for it? No one knows. Maybe it's both.
Doesn't a lot of it have to do wrapped up in MK Ultra?
More time? Couldn't hear you.
I know it said they were hoping it was a truth serum or an information gathering chemical that they could use.
Oh yeah, that could be valid as well. I just don't know, because I don't think anyone here was alive back when they were doing that in the early 60s. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, I think it started in the 50s even. 53 to 73. Right after the moon landing stopped.
Oh, that would be an interesting point.
Were those gentlemen MK Ultra?
Yeah, they could have been MK Ultra, and also they just given high amounts of LSD and then put them in a Disneyland type of situation, and they might actually think they went to the moon. Kind of a fucked
No,
up
it
thing
said
to
that
do
they
with
conducted experiments on hundreds of people, often without their knowledge or consent. So just random U.S. citizens from all different walks of life: military personnel, doctors, prisoners, a crime boss, Whitey Bulger, and a lot of people in psychiatric institutions.
Yeah, I think Timothy Leary hit it towards the end of MK Ultra. They were already having dinner parties where they'd come and put an eyedropper full of acid in everybody's drink. Or they'd go to a bar and just walk around and randomly slip an eyedropper full of acid.
Imagine that, not even knowing, and then not one drop that's going to send you on a trip, but an eyedropper full.
I just heard a story recently of some guy who had some incident happen at a at a bar he was in, like in the 60s, and started seeing real bright colors and almost eventually hit like a psychosis state. Came out of it, nobody would believe him. He lost his job. It was like a whole fucking thing. It basically ruined his entire life. And only later, when he was like reading and learning about this MK Ultra program, did he put two and two together. It was like, well, motherfucker, I got dosed. And it fucked his whole life up because he never knew, had no way to explain it. And everybody just thought he was nuts.
That would be crazy. Yeah, not knowing and having that happen would be... Now, I don't know how well I would handle that. Like if there was
a movie,
one hit of acid,
like this,
I could probably handle that. But like once you start hitting 3 and the visuals really start kicking in, I don't know if I would be okay with that just happening. Especially never knowing what that feeling was before. Like this is the first time ever doing it and not knowing you're doing it. Yeah, I don't know if I would handle that very well. I would probably think I was crazy as well.
there's a movie, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it may have been a Batman movie or something. Either way, imagine they did this at, like, if you turn on your sink, where's the water coming? Not just coming from the ground, unless you have a well, but it's usually coming from your municipal water system.
Oh my God. So you're saying, what if they put a drug in everybody's water supply, an unregulated, unlicensed, unmonitored, unmeasured drug in everybody's water that would like alter the way they react to reality? Horrifying.
Yeah. Wasn't that the Scarecrow? Didn't the Scarecrow, wasn't he going to dose the entire population of Gotham?
Wasn't that fluoride? I was pretty sure it was fluoride.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, imagine,
What about the Joker? He was the one doing airborne aerosols, trying to dose the population of Gotham with the aerosols and the parade floats.
No, that was Scarecrow.
No, that was the Joker. Scarecrow was going to put it in the water supply. Joker was spraying it in the air.
Oh.
Why do you get imagine him?
This town needs an enema.
An enema. Imagine they took 1,000 gallons of LSD and slowly distributed it into the water supply. Like here in the Bay Area, no one would know, even if you don't drink tap water. Just say you take a shower. Well, guess what happens? It still goes back to the water treatment area where the water is distributed in the first place, and it cycles through. I'm not sure if you guys understand how that works. It's a civil engineering.
And it's so small that acid will go right through your skin. You don't have to ingest it.
Correct. And it's even in just small amounts. All of a sudden, the entire fucking, like Silicon Valley, they could do that. Like right down the street from where I work. I can walk there where I work. And I've been there. I was working at the power plant across the street from there. One day I walked in there and I was like, hey, I work at the power plant. I'm just kind of checking out what you guys are doing and why you guys make it smell like shit constantly. Because it was once per month. No, I'm not even kidding. They have like these huge, they're like 5-foot huge pipes, like sewage pipes and stuff. And they would have to put small explosive charges in the pipes and actually explode them in order to basically clean out all the debris. And I was like, holy shit, that's fucking weird. They have huge motors, like 500 horsepower motors. Then, yeah, they took me around. The electricians would show me around and stuff. And I was just thinking, like, holy shit, they could be putting anything in the water. And they are. Yeah, they had these huge chemical container, like 55-gallon drums and stuff. I'm assuming it wasn't LSD, but it was probably just a shitload of stuff that is used to clean the water. Like, that's what, Walt was just saying with the fluoride. They probably don't have any fucking choice. Like, Put it in there. It cleans the water. It's what you bathe with. Oh, shit.
Oh, crap. I just looked up and saw the time. I need to get ready for work.
Work is overrated.
Yeah, today's going to be a good day. Today, as we put up, they're working back in a substation, like way off the road. They have their own little private road that goes to it. So we put up a sign that says utility work ahead at the end of that little road. And that's my job today.
All right, that's cool.
Nobody turns down the road. The road isn't a road that is traveled by normal people at all. So yeah, it's an easy day today. Today is, yeah. You enjoy these when they come.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey.
How's everyone doing?
Better than I deserve.
Well, Josh,
How you doing, man?
Actually,
How you doing?
Josh actually won the lottery, and he was telling me, everyone else, how he's gonna, like, his first car is gonna be, I think it was a Lamborghini Diablo, something like that. So aside from that, we're all doing good.
Josh, I got a great business plan for you, man. Just give me half the money. Andrew, I actually had a question.
Nigerian prince.
No, a Nigerian peasant.
Well, what's the business idea?
Strip club.
Overrated.
We'll make a lot of money here.
Here's the thing, Noka. Those dollar bills you're throwing at them are not investment opportunity.
You're putting them all through college.
All right, Andrew, I got a question for you. You've been now to the military, correct?
Yeah, so is Josh.
Oh, okay, great. Questions for both of you then. What makes a good soldier?
Obedience. Subservience.
Andrew?
Chemical mind control.
Strength and obedience. It requires both.
That's stuff they gave Captain America.
Perception. If someone perceives the military as a bad thing and they change their mind, like, oh crap, I don't actually want to kill anyone, that means they're going to be, as Josh said, subservience and obedience. Then I would say that's not going to be a soldier. But it also depends on how you define a soldier. Because some people, like myself, when I was active duty, I was trained as a soldier, but rarely actually had to do it. Most of the time I was there in the military as a humanitarian type of expedition, and then to build bases and defend them. That was 60 to 70% of the job I did. And then the other times it was offensive. So someone that's willing to obey lawful commands from the senior positions, then, and also know how to fucking shoot and defend themselves and care for the people around them. Like, and then and know the objective of what's going on. Not really sure if I'm too long-winded on that one, but there's a lot of factors to it. It might be easier to explain or ask is what makes a bad soldier.
Andrew, you should have been a politician, not a soldier. Josh just gave me a straight answer. And I assume that, being a soldier, you probably have to, probably your best quality is your ability to conform to your superior officer's commands when they're telling you what to do. Yes?
Not as simple as that.
But if you want to get ahead in, say, being a soldier, like you want to rank up, if you will, that's a key part of you being able to follow instructions and command, because it's a chain of command.
Yeah, but it's not as simple as saying that, because just because someone is in the military does not mean that they're going to be a soldier. Only about 10% of the U.S. military will ever see combat. The rest of the military is all in logistics and support. They work in the accounting offices and the personnel office.
So what makes a good soldier? We know you did a pretty good job of explaining what makes a not good soldier. But what do you think is required in order to be a good soldier?
Well, physical fitness, I would also say, is
strength.
Very important.
Strength. But you can't just be out there berserking around, right? You there has to be an order to your strength. Your strength has to be able to be aimed, right? Someone has to say, now that we've made you strong, you need to go and do this. And as a result, you must then go and do that as told. Strength and obedience. That's what makes a good soldier.
There's a movie with Kurt Russell and there's a bunch of other famous people in it. But it's in the future where these children are born and they never get to meet their parents. They're just put into the military from day one. By the time they get to
Universal Soldier?
No, not Universal. It's just called Soldier.
Universal Soldier, I think, was Jean-Claude, wasn't it?
Yes. I didn't like that one very much. But Soldiers, basically, it's the most disciplined type of soldier that you could ever. It's more hardcore than any special forces we have now. And that's what they did. It was obedience and sacrifice if required. And complete dominance. They were dominated by the superiors because of the obedience that they were required to give. If they disobeyed, then they were executed. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I liked it. Soldier. Kurt Russell.
You think women should be drafted?
No.
If they can vote, they should be drafted.
No.
You just said that only 10% ever really sees combat. Put them in all those other positions and whatever. If they can vote, they should be drafted. It should be equal.
They don't have to be in the military, though. Anyone in the military that has... They're no longer a civilian at that point, which means everyone in the military has to at least know how to shoot a gun.
And you think chicks don't know how to shoot a gun?
Just not effectively.
I've seen many of them kill people in their documentaries when they kill their lovers and shit.
I mean, maybe they might be able to get one or two shots off, but what are the chances of them being overpowered and having their gun removed from them? What are the chances? Maybe they need more shots. So what are the chances they're going to be able to carry that gun and all the ammo any real distance? Like, they can stand and shoot once or twice maybe, and that might be great as an equalizer for an emergency situation. But really beyond that, how effective will they be? Because that's not their primary biological sort of necessity. That's not how they were built. They're not built for that. So what if instead of drafting them into the military, we drafted them because the men are built for that? That's what makes them better killing machines. So what if we drafted women for their biological purpose?
Which is?
Well, which is what? And I'm not talking like Handmaid's Tale stuff. It doesn't have to be like a Handmaid's Tale, but it's going to be a selective service. It's going to be a lottery type situation. Here's what's going to happen. Our population needs to be replenished. As much as our population needs to be protected, it needs to be replenished because we're not 100% effective at protecting everybody. The soldiers will die. The men who the women vote to go off to war, those men will die. Some of them will die in that war. Maybe the man says, I'm not voting for a war, but the woman, his wife, says, you know what? I think I should vote for that war.
That's when men have to stand up and say, no, stay here, we'll protect you. And when I was in...
No, hell no. What exactly are you protecting? Women in society treat men like shit today. I'm not protecting you. Screw you. I'm protecting me and my family. You're on your own.
I was in Croatia 2003 or 2002. I think it was 2002. Okay. Yeah, whatever era it was. And what we were told, and also when I was in Thailand, and what they told me each time, the people that had already been there, they said, you're going to encounter a whole bunch of women that are going to flirt with you because the women outnumber the female population outnumbers the male population by about 10 to 15 to 1, roughly. Because a lot of the men were involved in these conflicts, and a lot of them didn't come home. So all of a sudden, it's all these women that are incredibly sexy. And what they said, yeah, they do that on purpose so they can attract a spouse, a mate. One man could impregnate 100 women, and that's the way you could repopulate essentially. But if there's 5 women and 5,000 men, that's not going to work out very well in regards to stabilizing the population of an area.
Okay. So my initial question about what makes a good soldier is all about what happens if you break the rules. What are the things that can get you court-martialed or removed from the military?
Get a tattoo.
What?
If you get a tattoo.
Every American movie I've ever seen of soldiers, half of them have a tattoo.
Yeah, they don't always prosecute. A lot of them are done after the fact, but yeah, they say it's a destruction of government property. And I think this was primarily in boot camp. And it was, I think, more just learning your place. But like, as soon as you got out of boot camp, nobody's going to be there to do your physical bodily inspections like that, per se, to know whether or not it was a fresh or healed. And maybe it was all bullshit. Maybe that's just shit they say. But under the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, I don't know that you've got any particular rights to speak of, and they could probably decide to put you in the brig for about anything they wanted to, if they wanted to.
Well, you're absolutely correct, Josh. And because when you sign up, you raise your hand and take the oath of enlistment, one of the things they say. And in the UCMJ, yeah, you are considered military property at that point. If you get a sunburn, me being a pasty Irish Mick, I were to get a sunburn too much to the point where it infringed on my ability to do my job, I could get in trouble for that. And there's multiple types of discharges you can get through, it's called an NJP, a non-judicial punishment. That's where the commanding officer, I had an NJP once. I lost 2 ranks for it. Underage drinking in the barracks room. And I lied under oath. So I had an Article 89 and Article 92 in UCMJ. And he could have kicked me out of the military at that point. But I got lucky and I just lost 2 ranks. Oh, whatever. And then from there, I saw people, they called it a public execution. Some of these guys, they would go AWOL. They just fucking, abandon ship, essentially, quote unquote. And, they get caught because they're basically wanted fugitives at the time. Then they, well, not really fugitives, they're on the lookout. They get caught, they're high on coke, fucking whatever, breaking all the laws they shouldn't be breaking at all. Then they get brought back to base. They get brought into the auditorium where the commanding officer gives them, he's like, strips off his everything, his rank off of his shoulder, and it says, "You are now hereby not dishonorably discharged." And there's two different. He kicks him out of the fucking military. High on drugs, they were AWOL, and they owe a bunch of money to the fucking military for back pay. And then you have the more extreme situations. There's something called the bad conduct discharge. And a lot of people just call it the big chicken dinner, the BCD discharge. Like if you go and like punch an officer in the face, yeah, that's assault on an officer. It's a bad conduct discharge. You're out. And then you
Even
have
if you're the same rank?
The officers and enlisted are different.
Oh, okay.
If someone basically, dishonorable discharges are different, but I don't know the exact way how they're treated because I have an honorable discharge. I have an RE1 discharge. Re-entry, it's called re-entry 1. They want me back. But how do you get discharged? Other people can get a discharge through if they had their legs blown off. That's a medical discharge. Other people can just start going crazy from whatever reason, and that's also a medical discharge. And then some people just refuse to do their job. Like, fuck this, I'm out. I'm not going, I'll show up, but I'm not doing anything. That's called an other than honorable discharge. OTH. And then other people get an RE1 discharge, like Josh and I both have. I'm assuming Josh has that.
No, mine's general under honorable conditions.
That's what an RE1 is.
Oh, is it? I haven't actually even read through my entire DD-214. I couldn't even tell you what's on it.
It's on the very bottom left side of the page. You can request it.
I've got it.
What?
I've got one sitting here.
Why did you leave the military, Andrew? I mean, you got discharged, but why didn't you go back?
I was going to go back, but I did 6 years in the military, and they told me that if I stayed in, I would have to stay in the same battalion, and I would be guaranteed for another 3 to 4 trips to Iraq, which I didn't. I don't like 30-hour plane flights to and from. It's really hard. I don't like that shit. I like helicopters and I like all that. Iraq wasn't a big deal. It was just the fact that I was going to be deploying again and again. And I wasn't down for that. And then my buddy, he's a nuclear engineer, and he was working at a power plant. He was also prior Navy. He got out. He's like, yeah, this power plant over here is actually hiring. So if you get out, I can, give you a recommendation to get hired there. So I did. So I just got out, and I realized the civilian life just wasn't for me after all. And then I tried to rejoin, but they had this new thing going, which was called an I-9 certification. Basically, meaning I had to prove with 3 different people that I was actually a U.S. citizen. And I was like, I have my DD-214 right here. So that started pissing me off. And they say, okay, take off your shirt, show us your tattoos. And I do have tattoos, 2 on my left shoulder, each shoulder, 1 on my stomach, and 1 on my right forearm. And they were like, yeah, we have to get that approved. I was like, they're Navy tattoos. what the fuck is going on? And at that point, I just gave up with it and went back to working as an electrician and then working on my undergrad degree. The reason I left, I didn't want to kill people anymore, and I didn't want to go to Iraq.
And Josh, why didn't you go back?
I was out after like a year, but that's just because my back at the time couldn't handle it. Couldn't hack it. But I was had some high school injury, or it was even pre-high school, little league wrestling injuries that flared up, and then I had spent many a day on a chiropractor table after my aspirations, not even aspirations, just the idea of, being a cowboy. So horses and bulls and stuff.
And what happens after you leave the military? Do you get any kind of benefits, preferential hiring when it comes to work, that kind of thing?
Yes.
I don't know. Because of my general under honorable conditions after only a year, I don't even usually claim veteran status anywhere at any time. Like, most people wouldn't know that I was in the Marine Corps. Because most people don't know, because it's not something I sort of claim. Despite the fact that they say, as long as you graduate boot camp, then you're actually a Marine, and once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, Josh, I didn't know I thought you served your entire term.
Nope. Okay. Just 1 year.
Okay, yeah, I had a 6-year EOS. EOS in the military means end of obligated service. It's the contractual agreement you have. 6 years is the most you can sign up for at any one time. So I did the 6 years. I was going for the bingo on that one. And
they give you an enlistment bonus for that?
I wish, but no, I didn't.
So Andrew, you know a lot about the logistics of the military industrial complex. So you said there's preferential treatment in terms of hiring and stuff like that. I'm assuming medical as well. How are people getting left behind in terms of, I hear about people who have served that end up being homeless or are poor or couldn't find work and so on and so on. What happens there?
Some people, some veterans, doesn't matter if they were in the military or not. Well, it doesn't matter if they were in the military. They are just pieces of shit. And it's their choice to go down that route of, massive drug addiction and abuse, alcoholism, spousal abuse, and just getting in trouble with the law. So I worked at a veteran.
Are you saying that pretty much the people that sort of get left behind are people that have other problems going on in the background that people aren't aware of?
Yeah, they don't want help either. I worked, you can look it up. It's the address is 795 Willow Road in Menlo Park, California. It's the psychiatric hospital for veterans. I mean, they have a dental office there. They have, it's a huge facility. They have senior citizens that are there that are all veterans, and they're basically on death's door. They're going to die at that location. No emergency services whatsoever. But then the other thing that they have are long-term care, psychiatric, and PTSD and homeless veterans that can show up there. But what they have to do first is they have to go to the emergency room. in Palo Alto, then the emergency room will basically, they'll put them on a bus or whatever and take you over to Menlo Park. And then from there, those veterans actually care. One day I was going to work at that same location. There was this guy standing in the intersection on my way to work. Saw him quite a bit. And he had a sign saying, homeless veteran, anything, or basically give me fucking money, right? So as I pulled up, I saw him at the intersection. I had the opportunity. And I said, if you want help, get in my passenger seat right now. I'll help you out. I'll take you down to the VA hospital. He said, no. I'm not even sure if he was really a veteran or not. But even if he was, then that means he didn't want help. The thing about veterans,
I can understand it from both sides. Like my uncle, he was in the VA his whole life. He was a Vietnam vet. And they pretty much experimented on him with these experimental type drugs. Like they gave him all kinds of shit that, dude, I experimented with some of these pills they were giving him. Stuff that made, like, you could feel your teeth. Some of it, dude, just weird shit. And he had like a pharmacy in his basement when he passed away. Like thousands and thousands of pills, just bottles full upon bottles from the VA. So I could understand it from both sides, like not wanting their help at the same time as needing help. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that's a valid point. And some people don't want to go to the hospital. Like, I have to have surgery on my left hand again. It's becoming painful, like, really bad. But yeah, but I have free medical care through the VA for the rest of my life. That surgery is like a $65,000 surgery, and it's being done by Stanford surgeons. Because Stanford's right down the road. Because the VA doesn't actually have surgeons, but at least extensive ones. And yeah, when they put an IV in my arm, just to give me like some saline injection with a painkiller or something, I'm still skeptical. What the fuck is that? But it's surgical protocol. Some people, yeah, they got experimented on more than others. Everyone in boot camp, anyone in the military, I mean anyone that got from boot camp will tell you the same thing. That in boot camp, you have I don't even know all the stuff I got. It was influenza, yellow fever, typhoid. I don't even know. There's all these different injections. And that's the theory that I have when it comes to why do veterans have a 400% more likelihood to commit suicide than anyone else. Like police officers, emergency services, they see some pretty nasty shit too. But people that just work in a personnel office in the military commit suicide? What's that about? Never saw combat. Never even deployed. 4 years in the Air Force. But they committed suicide. It's the military. And my theory is that, in this case, correlation is causation.
Okay. And what did you think of that Tuskegee syphilis study? And was there any reformation of the people in charge and once this got out? And were there any consequences of the people that did this? And was there any restitution to the people who were affected?
The Tuskegee, I don't know. I've heard a lot about it, but I don't have enough information to speak on behalf of it. I would just sound like a fool and a liar if I started saying anything otherwise.
My guess, because I don't know that much about it either.
Okay,
The Tuskegee experiment got a lot of attention because of the racial aspect to it. The thing about that is, it was already racially. It's not like they weren't running these sort of experiments on the entire rest of the military. But because it was this small group of black men, everybody's like, oh my God, that's so horrible. Well, I mean, it's fucking horrible because they do these experiments randomly across the military.
Okay, which other studies have been found out that they did on the experiments that they did on the soldiers that got some publication out there that both of you know?
So it wasn't the publications because of the absolute denial, but Andrew probably remembers what was the Iraq war sickness. They had a name. I don't remember what it was, but there was a very specific sickness that these Iraq war vets were coming home with. And it was just sort of, they were all made to be crazy. It was absolutely nothing. Well, it wasn't anything that they got over there. It was some sort of normal thing that they just couldn't pinpoint, but it surely had nothing to do with fighting the war in Iraq. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, that one I'm not entirely sure. But there's the flies and the fleas.
Gulf War syndrome, maybe?
Something like that.
The Gulf War illness. It says it wasn't really an experiment, though, but it was being exposed to toxic, let's see.
Maybe they were. Now that you say that, they were burning oil fields.
Exposures.
Yeah, could be.
There's something called leishmaniasis, which is caused from sandflies and mites. By the way, the flies out in Iraq, they outnumber the people everywhere, like 1 billion to 1. They were everywhere. And what we told is we always had to wear long sleeve shirts, gloves, and combat glasses, and no matter where you went, and no shorts allowed. But at least leishmaniasis can kill people. It has killed a lot of people, actually.
Okay, so the Gulf War illness affected over 700,000 U.S. troops. So that's a sizable amount. And they had developed chronic debilitating symptoms, all right? So obviously these people suffered. I'm assuming that the military or the people in charge of the military, after they realized what was causing all of this, paid out the families that were affected? Yes, no, or took responsibility in some way?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'd be surprised.
You're not from here, right?
And so when people go into boot camp, one of the things that we are required to do is opt in or opt out of life insurance. Meaning if you are killed in combat, then you could put down one next of kin. Basically meaning that's who's going to get all of the money for your life insurance payout. And you can set it for different amounts, but that comes out of your paycheck every month. So it was like $12 a month or something like that for $150,000 life insurance plan. Eventually I just canceled it. I was like, not going to get killed. And then I almost got killed. So it depends on, some people just opt out entirely. I'm not going to pay for that. Because there's no point in someone working in the personnel office. They have a military uniform on, but they're just sitting behind a computer all day.
Is the insurance directly related to actual combat, or does it function as a normal life insurance policy? Like if you get knocked by a car and you die, it'll pay out?
Basically, if you're killed in the line of duty while we're on duty, if you're in the military and you die while you're in uniform on duty, that's how it applies, I think.
I believe there are special wartime dispensations, I think. But I do see here, Duma, there isn't a single Gulf War syndrome settlement, but rather a VA disability benefits for conditions that are linked to the Southwest Asia Theater from 1990 to present, including medically unexplained illnesses now covered under a presumptive conditions from the PACT Act, offering tax-free monthly payments, health care, and other aid for eligible vets with qualifying chronic disabilities like fatigue, headaches, PTSD. And to get compensation, you need proof of service, a diagnosed chronic condition, and evidence it started during or after service. So no responsibility was claimed. No actions taken, no settlements made. For all 700,000 soldiers.
I was sent an email from the VA. They said, because there was so many, lots and lots of veterans and lawyers getting involved, saying that something had to happen in regards to different chronic illnesses that were years later. And one of the reasons they were saying it is that you were in the theater of war. What we did, because there was no laws about burning things over there, we would have a burn pit. It was burning 24 hours a day. And we would throw, didn't matter what it was, human waste, refrigerant cans, metal, wood, plastics, garbage. Just a big fucking burn pit. It was like the size of a football field. And we didn't start the burn pit. The Iraqis did. So one of the things they said in the email. Why did you stop?
We didn't start the fire.
Anyways,
go ahead.
So I filed for a disability claim. I think it was 3 years ago, because I've been having like breathing problems, like sinus and breathing problems ever since then, because I had to go out there often. And those burn pits were pushing up all of that soot and shit all over the place. And granted, they were about 2 miles away from where the base was, but that stuff travels a long ways when it's burning 24 hours a day. And that's why I think a lot of people are filing disability claims in regards to it. People having, bronchitis, and even though they never smoked cigarettes, all of a sudden they have bronchitis, and then they have these different types of illnesses. And I've had sinus issues ever since I was in that part of the military, part of the world. And I got no response from the VA. Nothing. Filed for it twice under the PACT Act. Nope. Nothing.
Can you name, Andrew, can you name the list of shots you got in boot camp when you had to go stand in line?
I can try. Typhoid, yellow fever, influenza. There was the peanut butter shot when it goes right above your right butt cheek. That one is really painful. I think what else I have.
Yeah, that's the shot you give to the man who has everything. That's the penicillin shot.
Yeah, it's a 2,000 cc. It's the biggest needle I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, it's a little intimidating.
Yeah,
especially coming at you from behind.
What they made us do, you walk in, you're in a straight line, and then they take off your overcoat. Well, they call it a blouse, but take off your blouse, and then from there, roll up your white t-shirt sleeves. Your shoulders are exposed. You step forward, you get an injection in each arm. Step forward again, another injection in each arm. Meanwhile, you just see like these tubs. They just inject it. They throw the syringe in there, and then another step forward. Boom, two more injections, and then they make you wait. That's the part I was like, wait, why? What are we doing here? And then you hear people in the other room. It's like a horror movie situation. Oh, fuck! Ah! So I was like, oh my God, what are they doing to us? So you get in there, and there are 6 corpsmen. And they have the biggest fucking syringe you've ever seen. And there's a metal table. They say, okay, everyone come in and bend forward and arm wrestle with the guy in front of you. So 3 people on each side of the table. And they say, okay, well, before you do that, take your shirt, twist it up, and put it in your mouth. And bite down on it. And I was like, oh, it's just not going to go good. And then they say, okay, hold your breath. And then, oh, holding your breath doesn't work. Nope. Or maybe it did. I don't fucking know.
No, holding your breath never works. Just as a
take a deep breath.
My advice, especially in that area, just breathe through it. Relax as much as you can and don't forget to breathe. Breathing helps. Keeps that blood circulating, keeps all those acids and shit from building up. It'll help the pain by breathing through. And just try to relax. But you guys had it easy. You guys had a whole setup, and like people gave a shit about whether or not it hurt. And you all, like we were in our skivvies, just standing there in the middle of the hallway, just as close as you could get to the man in front of you without like actually penetration. And then they just had the corpsmen walk down the line. Each one had like a air-powered hypodermic. It had like 4 or 5 needles in it. And they just went down the line. And you just get like 5 or 6 shots on one side, and there's a corpsman went down the other line. And hit your other side. And then the third corpsman came by with that penicillin shot, and it was like bend over, but there was no like, hey, you're going to arm wrestle the man in front of you, and you need to do this. This will help. Nope. They give you the shot. They walk you out the door with the limp, and then they sit us down with our backs against the wall on the side of the hallways. And then you're just supposed to rock back and forth because it was that hard linoleum floor. So you just put all your weight on the butt cheek they just injected with that peanut butter penicillin. And you just had to rock back and forth and work that knot, just a big lump of penicillin, and work it into your ass cheek by rocking back and forth on one cheek. That's how they did it. That's how I got mine.
Yeah, you were 4 years before me. I joined in 2000, but yeah, they made us do jumping jacks and squats after that. Because maybe for the same reason as you're explaining. Yeah, we had to march back to our compartment, and then they just made us do squats and jumping jacks, and it was just a PT day at that point. But the other things I got in regards to the previous question, I had 5 out of the 6 anthrax injections, all on my left shoulder. And that is also where I had the cowpox, which is supposed to be good for smallpox. And they just take a small little needle and they dip it into this little vial, and then they take it and they prick it on your shoulder 3 times. And then if someone already had it from over 10 years ago, then they had to get more pricks. I think it was like 15 pricks or something like that. And it would just cause this nasty, nasty scab on their shoulder. And they told us, yeah, don't pick it, don't scratch it, scratch around it. And you also have to keep it, air dry. So, and they gave us extra t-shirts and stuff because they said, yeah, those t-shirts, we have to throw them away. So it was like 1 t-shirt per day. And then anthrax, smallpox, yellow fever. I don't even know.
Well, there's a pile of them, is my point, yeah? And we can get into the sort of purity of vaccines and the different purities into who gets what. But what do you think the chances are that the military uses those top grade vaccines? Assuming that they're only putting the vaccines that they tell you about in those shots. What are the chances they're using good vaccines or vaccines that they really have a firm understanding of the long-term effects? Versus, well, this is going to be a really good way to track the long-term effects, what with the VA and all. So if we'll just keep track of which lots we use on these vaccines that we give them, and we can track these long-term effects, and if there's something bad happens, we'll just have to change it up. And that sounds pretty reasonable. A reasonable expectation from the military.
Yeah, the military and prisoners are the key components.
Guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Which I think was Duma's question about experimentation on the soldiers. Yes, I think they experiment on the soldiers beyond just Tuskegee syphilis experiments.
So the thing about being in the military is, like, here's an injection you have to have. Oh, you reject that? Oh, it's medical care that will require you to have? Then they can discharge you. So there's a consequence of it. And we don't even know what the fuck is in it. I'll guarantee you this, the doctors and nurses that are prescribing it don't even know what it is. But, yeah, because they're not testing this shit. My sister found out about that when she tested the COVID kind of nonsense. She's like, oh yeah, it's mostly saline. But this is how you do a controlled study. But when it comes to prisoners, they say, oh, do you want a reduced sentence? Most of them would be like, yeah, sure. Okay, we're going to inject you with something unknown.
I would love to get a test of the water that comes out of just a random sampling of even a county jail, but any prison. Just go through each cell and pull a random sample out of the sink or out of the toilet and see what it is they actually put in that water. Or if it's just straight city water. I'd be curious. Same with the food. I'd love to do a test for saltpeter in the food in prisons. See if they actually put shit in there. Try to keep the instances of rape down by trying to minimize sexual urges through chemical means.
Yeah, I've heard people say that in boot camp.
Yeah, boot camp was another.
Well, it's called work week. For 1 week, it gets week 5, where we had to basically go and work in the kitchens, go work in the laundry, go and basically work in the compartment, our division, and just do all these different work jobs. And I got fucking bored because they put me on working inside the compartment. I was like, this is stupid. So I volunteered to work inside the kitchen. And petty officer said, are you serious? Yeah. Put me in there. So when I got there, everyone was saying, oh, you wouldn't believe what some of the ingredients are on, it says on the boxes. Like mentioning all these different chemicals. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Oh, they keep you sterile. And they keep you from getting a hard-on. It doesn't work for me then. But there's a lot of myths about that kind of stuff. I mean, there might be some validity to it. I just never heard anyone that's been able to prove it.
Maybe it only works on straight people.
Whoa! I'm not gay, dude.
Even through the drugs, they just couldn't keep you from getting sexually aroused amongst all those other dudes. Is what I heard.
I was fucking 17, 18 years old.
I know. The wind blows just right. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
We're rolling right along. We get 20 minutes left.
Here's a funny little story. When I was incarcerated for a short amount of time, yes, I was guilty. I started the fight. I pled guilty for vandalism and assault and battery. Anyways, one of the guys I became pretty good friends with, his name is Brian, and he was in there for... It's really funny to hear the stories that, like, everyone always asks, like, what are you in here for? What'd you get charged with? And he's like, oh, I was stealing catalytic converters off of cars because he's a master mechanic and he had a heroin addiction. And eventually he got caught. And the way he got caught was because he was cutting the catalytic converter off of an undercover police car, like 11 o'clock at night. And the guy just got off work. He was like fully awake. Boom! Arrested. So what he would do, I'm not trying to, I guess something actually funny after this. I'll show you guys in a moment. That, you know, they would do head count 3 times per day. And I was on workforce at that point. You know, I had an easy time while I was in county. Easy time. It still sucked. So what Brian would do, whenever they called head count, he would make sure he had a full raging hard on and just jacking off right in front of the door, you know, where the window is, as they do head count. And he would do that every fucking time. And eventually he got written up for it. But he told me that. He's like, I got busted. I can't do that anymore. And yeah, you shouldn't do that at all.
This'll teach him. Put me in a cage. Well, watch this. I'm not an animal. Watch me jerk off and fling my poo, because I'm no animal.
I was listening to Adam Carolla yesterday, and they were talking about OnlyFans, and then they were talking about racism, and they came up with OnlyClans. OnlyFans for clan members.
Where they just make racist, you can subscribe to their racist video content.
Oh, dude, I was rolling.
Old fat white guy slowly taking off a white robe.
Adam Carolla's pretty funny. He has a bunch of books he's put out. I've listened to all of them on audio tape. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious stuff. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah,
I never liked him.
He doesn't like pick a side, you know? He'll call out bullshit no matter who's saying the bullshit. And he'll even tell you, like when the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing happened, to do like, you know, this really isn't. He's like one of my best friends. So of course I'm going to have a biased opinion about it. But he made people aware of that before, you know, saying anything. I just like the way he goes about, you know, sharing his opinion.
I always just felt like he was doing a bad Gilbert Gottfried impression. Just couldn't listen to him. Just didn't like him.
Oh, it's kitty cam time.
Time for your... Never mind. I don't want to... I don't want to ruin chocolate for anybody. Or starfish, for that matter.
Oh, I'm incredibly intrigued now as to what you're referring to.
So I think Dixie's pretty well given up on trying to bond Benny and Bonnie together. Benny
Not working out.
No, she's just a little too reactive, a little too in your face, and a little too needy for attention. They just don't like to share. She thinks she might have a better job getting the throuple out of Yinny and Yango with Benny, which would be quite the little fluffle they got going on there. But Yin and Yang are a little more independent, which allows Benny the chance to soak up all the attention.
All right, I'm trying to share my screen, but it's just giving me that nonstop wheel of death.
It's the solar flares.
There are still people pushing the whole Atlas thing right now. Saying it changed colors and it's speeding up and it's making the sun shoot flares at the Earth and this and that. Oh my goodness. Like 800,000 views. It's just crazy.
Am I sharing this yet?
Yes, you are.
All right, Here we go. You are. Okay, so I thought this was just a euphemism and a joke, but it's actually
No, it is 100% real.
Mm-hmm.
The Flying Spaghetti Monster is the deity of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, or Pastafarianism. A parodic new religious movement that promotes a lighthearted view of religion. The parody originated in opposition to the teachings of intelligent design in public schools in the United States. According to adherents, Pastafarianism and is a real legitimate religion as much as any other. It has received some limited recognition as such. Wikipedia bullshit. The only reason I found out about this was because I was trying to figure out if I could create my own religion. The answer is yes, but there's rules you have to go by. So someone just out of spite, according to legal code, you can even create a religion out of as a joke and still qualify for a 501c3. So I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to look into it more, but you have to go into the IRS code.
And that's only if you want the tax credits. If you want to, or the tax exemptions, rather, as a 501c3, a religious 501c3. 501c3 isn't required for a religion or for a church. And really, churches are a lot easier. Churches are a lot easier to start. And once you hit the Protestant sects of Christianity, then like anything goes. Like you could start a whole Christian church where, all right, well, where anything goes. Like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what the Bible says. We'll just make up our rules as we go along. Here's what our church allows. And we can allow whatever the hell we want. It just all depends on how we interpret the Bible. Because obviously,
I think that might be one of the reasons why there's so many denominations of Christianity. They're like, oh shit, we can fuck around with this system.
Yep.
Mormons. Oh, cool. And then continue on with this.
One in downtown North Judson, a town in Indiana I lived in. That was called the Rock and Roll Church of Jesus Christ. Something like that. Rock and roll was in the name of the church name. Yeah, you can do whatever you want when it comes to making up your own religion and how you want to practice it.
I think there are guidelines. It's not. It's more than just, self-identifying. I think there are requirements to starting your own denomination type of church. Even if you don't want the 501c3 classification, I think for it to be a church or a religion, I think there are things that are required. I've known several people throughout the years.
People started jumping on the whole cannabis church bandwagon back in the early run of trying to do that, and there was a lot of them getting shut down because they were just.
Well, if they could use peyote, why can't we use weed?
right.
Okay, so it was just a quick internet search for me, and I just typed in how to start my own religion.
Just a Google search?
Yeah, but it brought me to Universal Life Church case law. There's like lawyers and judges involved in this. And it's a little lengthy. I'm not going to read it right now. But basically all it's saying is that you have to apply for the IRC, Internal Revenue Code 501c3 status. And then you apply for it. And then from there, you get there's still certain things.
Right, but it's not like, oh, well, I'm just going to fill out this paperwork, give my name, address, date of birth, and that's my application. Nope, the application has requirements. Like, you've got to give them a purpose. You've got to make sure that you are following that purpose and that purpose only. Like, there's rule. If you want that 501c3 classification, then you're going to have to abide by lots of rules in accordance to that.
Well, guys, we can start one. We can be the Realmanites. Just remember, if some lady calls and she needs baby formula, we must give them baby formula.
If I'm going to start a cult, would you guys join?
Not likely.
I'll join if I get money.
No. No.
Well, I don't want to say no. I mean, that's a pretty definitive answer right off the bat. What are you offering is the question.
Yeah, there we go.
Like most cults, the cult leader keeps all the women to himself. Like, if that's the kind of cult, then no.
You have to share the
cup of
woman.
water and $1. That's all I'll offer. $1 and a cup of water.
That's not a very good cult.
Are we going to have bake sales?
Do I have to walk around naked wearing a pink bow tie?
Are we going to have orgies?
Well, no, because cult leaders typically keep all the women for himself.
See, this is why I want to be part of the inner circle.
Well, that's how you get it. See, that's the rub. Only the women get to be in the inner circle.
I identify as a woman.
Well, then you probably won't be invited to the cult.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Not in my cult.
Not in my cult.
You'll be invited to the secret society cults. You identify as a woman.
So the legal definition of a religion.
Real quick, Andrew, go look at all the different presidents, all the first ladies of the United States. I'm just saying.
Not just Brigitte Macron.
Barbara Bush was like one of the pristine examples.
Oh, that's a man.
Oh, that's a man, yeah. Tell right away.
How long have they been doing this? Dude, there's a famous garden. It's got an overlook that you can see 7 states, big giant waterfall. Well, this guy built this for his wife, so-called wife, right? Back in like the 20s. And because they couldn't have kids, imagine that. But dude, I was sitting there looking at their painting that they had in the house. And the Adam's apple is on the painting. It's like they're not even trying to hide the shit. It's so obvious. Well, I got to go take a picture real quick. New thing we're doing.
I never
at work.
understood why men
Sherry
have an
said
Adam's apple.
Sherry said she wants to be past the Cookie Monster. What kind of cookie, Sherry?
Oh, that I will allow that.
Chocolate chip, probably.
I'm the hairy cookie monster. Nom, 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 nom.
But I did do the research on how to create your own religion. How to create my own cult.
I mean, if Scientology exists, you can definitely make your own.
Oh, I'm gonna get flagged like really fucking fast. How? Oh my God, it's a fucking book on Amazon. That's the first search. How to start a cult. Oh my God, it's got really good reviews.
OnlyFans Pastor Cookie. Shit.
I ain't afraid to eat the chocolate chip.
Yeah, I'm not going to do like a Heaven's Gate kind of thing. It's just going to be like, yeah, we show up with some cookies and play some video games, get really fucking stoned, you know, pretty buzzed, and then just pass out. And then we do some sort of a weird seance, like with like Jenga or something.
With all of those positive reviews, how many cults do you think are going to be centered around this 3-eye atlas?
I don't know, but okay, it has 125 reviews, 5 stars on Amazon. 77% of people say it's a 5-star.
I mean, I think the only way you'd know that is if you used it and it worked, right?
Well, I'm going to start a cult, so this might be like a good little backbone and stuff like that. I'm also going to run for president, which is kind of a cult.
I'd start the cult first. It'll give you a larger voting block.
Oh, that's true. I got to get started. This was written December 20, or published December 21st, 2021. That's not like, I need like something like original cults. Heaven's Gate.
How about new cults? Let's see what they got going on recent.
How to start my own.
Yeah, but then in a couple of years, they'll just come back out with Cult Classic and stuff.
Right. We're a Kool-Aid cult. Let's all go to South America.
And then it'll be like Andrew Baker, the cult leader documentary. Oh, shit. I don't want to be like David Koresh or anything. Oh, there's another one. Crime Reads. Please don't tell me this is it's a fucking new website.
Sherry says we should open an OnlyFans page for Flat Earth.
I thought about it.
It's going to work because it's flat. You know, you want your OnlyFans page to be a little bit more rounded, if you know what I mean.
You underestimate the different kinds of kink out there, Duma. There's a kink for everything. That said, when OnlyFans first, I think, was making the transition from its original purpose into what it is now, there was a brief time I toyed with it, but just because YouTube. Then it was just sort of all porn. Then it's like, okay, well, that's not what it was started for, but that's definitely what it is now. And there's no changing it because that's where the money is.
I read somewhere that like only a percentage actually make any kind of money on there. So you have girls that
Yo.
no one's even buying. How's that for something? You know?
Right? What are you going to do? How do you change that? That'd have to be a topic for Friday because we're right at it.
Yeah, we are. Thank y'all. Sorry I was less than present, but it was good being here with you guys. Love y'all.
Yes, Brian, probably even a kink for ear hair. Probably so. From the shit that I've seen, my guess is yes, even that. You name it, and the answer is yes, even that. But thank you, guys. We will see you back here on Friday for more of the Ironworks. Until then, happy hump day. It is Wednesday. And, yeah, have a good rest of your week. We do love you, so be good. Be well. When you do good, do it well. Bye-bye.
Bye.